part of the solution for China was to try to monitor each other to prevent bad behavior.
Now, I'd like to ask about the society of China and the U.S. Because you often, visiting to China, and you really in China. I know you are kind of the heroes about just that in the future. Nowadays, even in Japan, people saying that China is much more like living in the future. Because for example, like the Sesame Credit, they are living in the credit kind of numbering, scoring culture. Kind of seems smooth by using the technologies, but also, of course, everyone knows they are, ruling by the communism party, one party, just ruling society. So not just how much the freedoms they have, I'm not sure so much, but at least they are living happily by using technologies. And the contrast to the China, now U.S. is kind of struggling about like social networks, people using, a lot. It's a freedom of expression and a freedom of saying everything, but then a lot of fraud coming into the societies. So because, we appreciate and respect about the freedom and the rights of individuals, then a lot of problems happen. So it's kind of now seems like a really big contrast between the country of freedom like US and just a country of the socialism society with technologies upgraded. What's going on in the Chinese societies?
I think the Chinese would be fairly happy because we hear things like the social credit thing.
Yes.
It's not really being used. It's more like the same credit card rating that Americans have.
It's not that big, actually.
I mean,
it's kind of
they don't have that. See, they don't have. The Chinese don't have credit card ratings.
I see.
They have no credit rating at all.
Just a Sesame Credit.
That's the first credit they had. And because they had nothing. They had no credit rating. How could you be sure someone who borrowed money would pay it back? So this was their form of credit rating, which we have in America and probably in Japan as well. I like to start off by saying that generally China is so big and so vast, so populated that so it's very hard to generalize a country this big and diverse.
Diversity. Okay, yeah, that's.
And so I could say, China's becoming poorer, and that would be true. I could say China's becoming richer, that would be true.
I see.
But I think, on average, Chinese have increased their wealth tremendously, and that has meant moving hundreds of millions of people from the countryside into the city.
I see. Yes.
And part of the problem is that China doesn't have a long background of a spiritual value history, particularly after the communist cultural revolution. Part of the solution for China was to try to monitor each other to prevent bad behavior.
I see.
Or people doing stupid things, or people doing harmful things. And so far, so the Chinese have this sort of system of surveillance and all this other stuff, and they have accepted that because they become richer.
I see.
So they're saying, so far the bargain has been, in exchange for being monitored, we get richer and everybody behaves better. And I would say if it stopped right now, if nothing changed,